What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 200th episode of 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. As you know, my kitty companion Zen has been along for the ride. As I was telling him pre-show, he is probably the most regular guest this show has ever seen. Now, you're seeing me in person, but this show didn't start this way. It just didn't. It wasn't a part of that. It was an audio-only podcast. And I'm going to take you back for this first clip to episode 8, 2017. The topic, buying online. Enjoy. We've been doing this now, if I can be clear about it, we've been doing this online sales thing for a long time. At least I have. 2003, 2004 is really when it started. Taking internet leads, negotiating deals over the phone. Oh my gosh, did he just say that? Yeah, I did. Same thing as negotiating over the email, all right? This is all people want to do. All people want is transparency. This idea that millennials, which, by the way, millennials are buying more cars than people thought, and it isn't always about not having a dealership. It's about not wasting their time. It's about not having this be an exercise in frustration, as this particular article states. It's about them getting what they want when they want it. Why in the hell can't we offer this at dealerships? I don't want to say ahead of our time. I don't want to say anything like that. We weren't ahead of our time at all. It's just what happened in the time, right? We were already seeing this trend that long ago. That is really what I'm trying to get across here, is that these ideas are not new. They're more repackaged as we move along. So again, that's a weird clip because it's audio only, right? So you're thinking to yourself, my gosh, how long do they do that? Well, we did that for quite a while, actually. I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't have to worry about this or having any. This is a little bit over the top for today, but I didn't have to worry about anything. I just went downstairs, hit record, stared up at ceilings, whatever. But now, I don't know, I'm getting more used to it. Again, we're more episodes with video than without it. And then at one point, I started thinking to myself, how could I get more people involved, right? What could I do? Well, simplest way forward, interviews. So this next clip is going to be from my first interview. I flew out to Omaha, Nebraska to see a great client of mine, Jeff Hinchcliffe. Once again, I want you to listen to just go back and watch this whole episode, just because this guy was so far ahead of what he was talking about now. It's so relatable. So once again, check this clip out.
Depending on who you ask again, 10, 12, 13% of the dollars spent in the United States are online, and the rest of it's brick and mortar, right? So a couple of years ago, everybody's like, it's a small percentage. Like, brick and mortar still dominates, right? You could hear it on CNBC a couple of years ago. And now here we are going in 2018, and it's obvious that Amazon's putting people out of business.
Well, yeah, we just had our largest number of store closings ever, right?
Guess what happened this year? This is the first year that online purchases, dollars spent, went past the tipping point.
And that happened recently, right? Even with Black Friday, they said
this year is the first year it's reached a tipping point. So everyone said, so your brain says, okay, well, tipping point is 50%. It's not. It's like 16, 17, 18%. So this year, less than 20% of the dollars spent are going to dramatically change the retail landscape, and
you see that headed our way in our industry. Like we talked before we started, it
absolutely.
was big time transactions, still a little bit thing. So do you think we're at 5%, 3%? I mean, I don't think you both agree we're not at the 14, 16.
I think 10%. I think given the opportunity to transact online, I think 10% of the car buyers will seriously consider it, and if it's a good experience.
Like I said, you're going to want to go back and check out the entire episode having heard that, because it is that damn good. Now, previous to all of the shit going on in the world, when we used to be able to travel and do things at our will, my wife and I used to do a lot of it. And so there was a chance for us to go out to South Dakota and hit ourselves just a real trio of people, man. Some real great car people. One of them was Owen Moon at the time, as well as Jeff Larson, who you all remember from LinkedIn as well. But the big one, the guy who just melted my heart and brought me to my Midwest roots as close as I had been conversationally in the car business. You guys know him if you've been on LinkedIn for more than, 6 months. You know this guy. The sales guru himself, Jay Jensen. Once again, this is one of our last audio-only clips that we ever did. So sit back, listen, and enjoy. For us, 20 years myself, Jay over 30, there's the negative connotation or the negative connotation about car business that I dealt with in my time, right? Late 90s.
Yeah.
But late 80s, early 90s, it was the literal plaid jacket kind of, for lack of a better word, shithead mentality.
Yeah.
Have you seen that change at all?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen people's view of you as a human and as your job evolve in time?
We've done a good job in the car business, and I'm proud of that. I mean, when I first got in the business, we would write in code the cost of the vehicle on the windshield. Yeah. White flags.
Right.
All right? So we'd out there, what do you want for your car? And we knew it was $5,000. He said, well, I want $7,000. All right, well, I'm going to jack the price up $5,000. If I can give you your $5,000, or whatever, and just work the deal in the parking lot.
Yeah, on a 10 key.
Yeah. And go in, and this is going to work for you. It was just, and there was. I always say, it isn't worth charging somebody $2,000 more so I can make an extra $40 commission or whatever.
I never understood it because I wanted them back in 2 years.
Yeah.
And so if I screwed you at initial point of purchase, in 2 years when I was ready for you to flip out, you had to come to me and I had to tell you, because I did such a good job the first time, there's actually no way I'm getting you out of this car, right?
Yeah, and that's just it. And if that $40 is so important for me to get once, these poor people have to pay the extra $40 60 times, and it just isn't worth it.
And so you've always brought that human element to your side of sales.
You know what? It's my mom and dad. My dad was a school teacher. Mom stayed at home. Church president. I always say leave it to Beaver household.
Sure.
And do unto others. You know what I mean? And it is. It's just do what's right. And that's what I always say in my post too, is do it. If you want to do it to your mom, just don't do it.
And that was it. That was all there is to the audio-only side of the show. Episode 55. Lights, camera, action. Here's that clip. Well, hello. I bet you were not expecting to see me here. Welcome to the new version of 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We are full on video, guys. We are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of this fun little podcast, and we decided to step up our game and go completely visual for you guys. Here's the weird part, right? You've already seen the background before for the 30-second. You know it exists. But this is my office, and so when I record these things, you're going to find me looking at my laptop. You're going to find me just kind of looking outside. I'm not going to always be staring at you because that's just kind of overall weird, and I don't go about my life that way, all right? I'm always kind of wandering. I'm looking up. If I'm making a point. Sometimes you'll find me close my eyes. It's just a matter of kind of where I'm at. So this is a new thing for me. It's interesting because I didn't think when we started this podcast, I really didn't think many people would listen. I didn't think it would really have to worry about growing. But, now we've got this. We've got the 30-second with Sean. We've got the Chronicles coming out. And we're full video. So we feel like we have stepped up our game. And we're going to bring it. And over the last year, I've been talking about a lot. And some of it is I'm ahead of the curve on. And that's something that I've been doing my whole career. I just have an ability to kind of see what's coming and try to adjust to it. So we're going to revisit some old episodes, mainly digital retail. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been talking about digital retail for going on 3 years now. And now it seems like people are really ready to talk about it. So we're going to revisit some old episodes. We're going to see if what's in there is still viable or if we need to kind of update the profile on it and kind of see how we feel. We're going to be obviously going guest heavy. I'm getting ready to head out to Las Vegas here. And in Las Vegas, you will... by the time you see this, actually, I will be in Las Vegas. And we're going out there for speaking at the Rockstar Conference, attending Digital Dealer, and as I said before, somehow not speaking at it. I think it's a travesty. I've been called by many of folks who think it's ridiculous that I'm not on the roster, but hey, they can't all be winners, and that's all right. All right? See, we turned it on. You can tell I was probably a little bit uncomfortable because I had been used to not doing it, not having to worry about it. And like I said, I've gotten more comfortable with it, the aspect of the video. And it's a lot, I don't know if it's less work for the business partner. He just had to edit in all those side clips, kind of try to make them relevant to it. Otherwise, it was just a black screen. So it gets a little bit weird, I suppose. But ultimately, it's about the content. It's about the words. It's about what we're talking about. So in those interviews or going back to the buying online in 2017, just listening to that, really, it makes you remember that this business and the world of this business is quite small. Speaking of small and sort of the retrend, episode 92 of our show, we were talking about that whole transparency thing. Check it out. Tell me if you agree. The idea of transparency has been coming up quite a bit, and frankly, I'm tired of hearing about it, okay? As it relates to the car business, there is no more transparent large purchase industry as it relates to profit, as it relates to what people make or don't make, whatever the case is, there is no one more transparent than the car business. And I challenge you to go find me something else. Now, you want to talk about it being a hassle, you want to talk about people wasting time, blah, 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 blah. Not what I'm talking about. Transparency is about pricing in my world. That's what it's about, whether that's a trade cost, whether that's a new vehicle cost, okay? So on a new vehicle cost, manufacturers have been putting it out there for almost a decade online. The number of resources are up 1,000,000% in the last 5 years, let alone the last 10 years, for consumers to see pricing as it relates to the auto industry. Now, you're going to say to me, but Sean, on a used car, look, on a used car, the price is the price. What someone makes, frankly, none of your business. And here's why. A ton of things go into acquiring a used car, okay? How they acquired it, how they recon it, what they pay for all of those things. That isn't anything to do with you. So if a dealer sells you a car that works for you, then that's the good deal. Transparency, it's a hell of a word. It's a lot to live up to. Guys like Brian Kramer today are trying to bring transparency to the absolute forefront of the way that they do business. And so I think that's a crucial part of the conversation. As the pandemic hit, I got to tell you, I started to think, how am I going to get interviews done without it? Whole thing, I had to be in a room with someone. I had to be able to get that that vibe, if you will. But at the end of the day, it wasn't going to be possible. So we weren't going to go without it, because I think part of this show's, attraction, if you will, is that we have the best fucking guests, always. So here is my first Zoom interview ever. Let me know what you think. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Tonight is a little bit different. We're going to be going more than 10 minutes. I am joined by Tim DeJesus. Tim, how are you today, man?
What's up, brother? I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. So we've been doing these sort of, quarantine interviews, as it were, as everyone is, which is why Zoom is having its problems, I suppose. But the whole goal of it here, man, is to kind of get a regional perspective. And I'm really stoked to have you on, especially I follow you for a while. I really dig what you do. But B, and more importantly, you're in PA. So can you give the viewers a quick little snapshot of what the automotive industry during these times looks like in your state?
It is completely shut down. Outside of service, there is nothing going on. And I've gone so far as to call the governor's office and been told that, if people are being caught selling cars, they can lose their dealer license. It's at that level, which is great for human protection, but for the car business, it's a terrible thing. And who knows what happens at the end of this in PA. So it's going to be interesting to see.
And Tim, you said that in the pre-show that it's not even a first responder issue. This is a zero tolerance policy for selling a unit. If someone needed it to get to a hospital, if a doctor needed a new car to get to a hospital, you're telling me he could not obtain that car in PA.
That's what the governor's office told me. They said, auto repair is open, auto repair is deemed essential, car sales is not essential, and enough people have put in requests and been denied. So that's what it looks like in PA. It's ugly, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And to think this is the only way that I'll do interviews, probably for the foreseeable future, for the most part, is via Zoom. So I'm kind of laughing at myself going back to that and looking at it. as we get into the future, back as the man of the hour, as we look into the future, the one thing that stands out to me this year above all else is really when we started the mental health discussion. And I think it's super important. I think it's super crucial that we have that conversation because, again, I want this show to be valuable to everyone in our industry. And I think when you start to touch on mental health, that's something people can really wrap their minds around. And if they can't, then hopefully it opens them up to do so. So here's the first Mental Health Monday we've had, and we look forward to having a lot more.
People have patterns of behavior, and they don't just disappear when you walk through the front door of your home or the front door of your office.
As much as we may try to put those places in certain compartments and kind of do the thing, it's hard. And especially as you know, my situation is live, work, live with the wife, the producer, the business partner, and that makes the division almost impossible. I think a lot of people have said it to me along the way, hey Sean, how is it you divide work and home? At this point, we don't.
Well, it's hard because there's really no division.
There is no going home, but I like how you say that about the mindset, right? Of who you are. I always make this joke about people who have a messy office. Their car's probably messy too. And their house is probably messy as well. And not in a bad way. I don't mean that. People say that they, in dealerships, our business managers always had just paperwork everywhere. Mm-hmm. Made sense to them. That's what they'd always say. They're like, man, this is cool. You guys are driving me nuts in this room. It all makes sense to us. That to me seems like an easy way to kind of excuse the behavior along the way and not really dive into it. But Mental Health Monday, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a thing from now on. Obviously, we've got the CarBiz Chronicles coming up, so a little bit tougher to fit it in there, but as it goes, 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10, that function of this show, it will always have those pieces in it. So that's what we're doing now. Looking ahead, we're going to start something new. We're going to try and keep up with this as we have on our Monday shows, but on Wednesdays now, you can look forward to, what you've seen here. Frankly, we're going to start doing basically a little take on any Grateful Dead fans, Sirius XM today in Grateful Dead history. This is going to be easy. Today in 5 minutes history. And we're going to go back and pick a random piece of content, bring it back forward, and talk about its relevancy, talk about if it missed then, it hits now, if it misses both, whatever the case is. The reason I'm doing this is because in reading people talk about content, it is like wasted if you don't recycle it, but I don't want to be the 3 times a day guy either. So what I work myself into is this midweek sort of draw, right? So either way, I want to thank everyone who has been on the show, my wife, my business partner for editing, supporting the show, 200 episodes. We've never missed a Monday. So as you sit here, it's 200 straight Mondays of conversations. I look forward to 200 more. Thank you all for joining me, and we'll talk again next week.